Hi everybody, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Nic and I am an activist, an unapologetic feminist and a mental health advocate from Sydney, Australia. While I have you here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn your post notifications on, that way you never miss a video. And also, if you'd like to head on over to Instagram and give me a follow over there. Most of my work resides over there for the moment, but these videos are an extension of that work. So I'll put those details on the screen for you. And if you'd like to head on over and join the community over on Instagram, I'd love to see you. Before we get into today's video, I just wanted to say a really huge thank you to The Perfect Pair Earring Co., which is owned by the formidable Laura. Laura is a health at every size aligned dietitian and an all-around incredible human. I've been purchasing earrings from Laura for a fair while now, and needless to say, my collection continues to grow. My all-time favorites though are the Diet Culture Sucks collection. It's kind of hard to tell on camera, but these earrings that I'm wearing at the moment have been gifted, and they feature a lovely little pastel heart at the top, the earring topper, and then an amazing glitter Diet Culture Sucks heart dangle piece. I will leave the details for the Perfect Pair Earring Co. on the screen and in the description box below. So that's Laura's website and her Instagram handle. So if you'd like to get your hands on these amazing pieces, head on over, give her a follow, check out what's there. You will not be disappointed, I can guarantee it. Laura's passion for creating accessories for all bodies absolutely shines through in this collection, and I am so proud to be wearing these amazing earrings in this video today, and I am so proud to continue to rep these earrings with every outfit that I own moving into 2021. So thank you so much again, Laura. I so appreciate you sponsoring today's video, and I can't wait to see what 2021 brings for the Perfect Pair Earring Co. So I suppose this is as good a time as any to actually get into today's video. What I thought that I would do, and something that's been highly requested by so many people over on Instagram, I asked everybody over on my Instagram what would be the perfect launch video and the perfect intro video. And of course, I guess those suggestions were plentiful, but something that I kept seeing, a common thread and a common theme that I kept seeing was around, we always kind of refer to like doing this work, and I say that using inverted commas. So what does this work actually entail? So I guess this work in unpacking our anti-fat bias, unpacking our internalized fat phobia, unpacking all of these beliefs that we've been told about our bodies for as long as we can remember. What does that work entail, and where do we start? So I know that that seems like a huge topic. I'm going to try and break it down into some really intentional steps for you all. Let me just start by prefacing this in saying that there's no right or wrong way of doing this work, and there's no right or wrong trajectory on which someone embarks. So what I'm hoping to give you is just a really kind of basic couple of steps that you can take to get yourself into starting to understand a lot of the perhaps more advanced or more deeper topics that, you know, people like myself discuss on social media and the critiques that I make. So number one, I guess, is look at your social media feeds. I can't stress this enough. Who are you following? What accounts are you following? do they make you feel good? Quite often we have these accounts and we're following these accounts that make us feel worse about ourselves, and they make us feel like our bodies are wrong in some way, or they make us feel like we are not worthy enough, or perhaps our experience with eating disorder recovery, isn't as valid because of the bodies that we inhabit. Social media can be a really a really great place and a place to find community. And on the other hand, it can be a really toxic place as well, and it can be the source of comparison. So I really, really encourage people to have a look at their social media feeds. Any account that you are following, any account that appears on your feed, if they make you feel like crap and they make you feel bad about yourself, unfollow them. I know that seems really easy and really easy for me to say, but when I was first starting out kind of curating my social media feeds, it was something that was really, really hard for me to do, but I decided that each day I was going to go on and unfollow maybe one or two accounts that weren't making me feel good about myself. So start small. Don't try and go into your social media feed and try and curate it all in one sitting. Start small, give yourself a target each day if that's something that's helpful for you, but really go in and examine what you're actually getting out of these people that you follow on social media. Are you feeling like you are being, preyed upon? Are you feeling like you're constantly comparing yourself to often unattainable goals that people post about on social media? Or are you following people that, make you feel heard and make you feel seen? So that's... Yes, that was Luna. I think I'm going to leave that part in there. She's literally launched herself from my desk onto my lap and onto the floor so she can go out into the lounge room. Back to what I was saying though. Look at social media, figure out who are those people that you actually connect with, what kind of information are they putting out there, and is this something that you can relate to, and does it make you feel good? That's probably the question that I would ask. Does it make you feel good? Because if it doesn't make you feel good, then what's the point? Number two is resources. So there are an abundance of resources out there, from books to websites to blogs to most recently, I guess, people's work on social media and how that activism takes place. Look, there's just so much out there, which is great, but it's hard to know how to, kind of drill that down into what are the beneficial resources and what are the resources that may end up much like our social media feeds that tend to, kind of swallow us whole if we're not careful. So I've got 5 different books for you today. Look, these are 5 very different books in their own right, yet they all, in their own way, address issues like anti-fat bias, like fat phobia, like eating disorder recovery, like what it's like living as a fat person in today's society, the history of fat activism, and looking to start to tease apart a lot of those beliefs that we have held about bodies and the way that bodies should be. Should be, I use that term loosely, that tends to have kind of occupied the last number of decades, really. So I will start, they're just off to the side here, so if you see me looking, so I'll start with the original If Not Dieting, Then What by Dr. Rick Korsman. This was one of the first books that I read. It was shocking to me at the beginning in terms of, look, there's another way to live life that doesn't include, repeated, weight cycling, repeated dieting, starting to diet and then failing and then me feeling like a failure. This, I guess, kind of illustrated that there's another way of being, and was really my introduction into starting to deep dive into a lot of this work. The next book I've got for you is Body Respect. So this one is by Lindo Bacon and Lucy Aframore. Again, another great book that really starts to tease apart a lot of the ingrained beliefs that we've held so long, that we've held on to for so long. Starts to challenge a lot of those kind of status quo beliefs. Again, another kind of revolutionary book in, my own path and where I've been and where I am now. So another great book. What else have I got? We have got, so we've got Fat Activism here by Charlotte Cooper. This is much more of an academic read. It is a little bit dry in places. I really enjoyed it because I, love that sort of thing. But if you're looking for a really comprehensive history of fat activism, this is the book to do it. So a lot of information in there that it just doesn't seem to be accessible, in many places. So if you are wanting to read more about fat activism, and, I highly recommend Charlotte Cooper's book. We've also got The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor. I adore this book. It hits you in places, and again really challenges you to think outside the really narrow thinking that we've all held onto for so long. And the last one that I've got for you is You Have the Right to Remain Fat by Virgie Tovar. I knocked this book over on a flight from Sydney to Brisbane, which is roughly about an hour and 15 minutes, and pretty much read the entire way, couldn't put it down. It's just a really easy to read book. But, a lot of lived experience in there as well. So can be quite confronting in some stages, but highly recommend. I guess from the resources that we look at, and particularly for books as well, if we're thinking about lived experience and we're thinking about books that actually delve into lived experience, they're the books that I would want to be recommending to people. These are just the ones that I've had on my shelf. There are a couple more that have, I guess, kind of done the rounds in this space and are kind of emerging in this space as well. So I'll pop them in the description box below so you'll have access to some more resources. So number 3 is learning from lived experience. What I mean by this is learning about fatness from people who are actually fat. Learning about what it's like to occupy a marginalised identity from people who actually occupy those marginalised identities. And I'm not saying consume all of their social media and that sort of thing and rely solely on that as a learning experience. That's one way of being able to learn from lived experience. But if you can, and if you're in a position, take that a little bit further. And if they're offering any courses, if they're offering any workshops, if they're offering, any sort of peer support, actually pay them for their time and for their emotional labor. It's often this expectation that marginalised folk will provide a lot of their education and a lot of their content for free. And it's, I guess, this kind of unspoken, we'll bolster your platform if you provide this for free. And it really doesn't work like that. If you're going to be learning from people with lived experience, then you need to pay them. You need to pay them for their time. You need to pay them for their efforts. You need to pay them for their labor. It might be joining their Patreon. It might be making a one-off donation to their work. They might have their PayPal details or their Venmo, I think in the States, their details on their social media accounts. So if you can, and if you're in a position to, shoot them a one-off contribution, join their Patreon, sign up for their workshops and their offerings, to ensure that you're actually consuming their content, not freely. That was a really clumsy way of putting it, but to ensure that you're consuming their content and actually paying for the labor that they have put into this. So learn from lived experience, but also respect people's lived experience by paying for their labor. And number 4 is probably the most important of all, is self-care. I know when I first started out along this path of unlearning everything that I had been told about weight, about bodies, about dieting, about, about feminism, about, the way that women should behave. It was quite depressing, to be honest. And I found myself just in this state of, I have no clue what I'm doing and none of this feels okay. So I'm just going to kind of retreat into a corner and rock back and forth for a while. I just didn't know what to do. But what I realized is that it's not that I didn't know what to do, because what I was doing was unlearning decades of programming and decades of, socially constructed ideas and views about who I should be and what type of body I should inhabit. So it wasn't that I didn't know what I was doing, it was that I didn't know how to look after myself. I didn't know how to take care of myself while I was processing all of this, just the enormity of all of this. So I guess therapy. If you are in a position where you are able to afford therapy, then I highly recommend it. And I highly recommend finding a therapist who can hold space for what it is that you're processing. Finding a therapist that is aligned with health at every size values, with fat positive values, that operates from a trauma-informed and an anti-oppressive framework. Look, it was one of those things that therapy was really helpful, and yet it was really damaging at the same time for me. I had to leave the therapeutic relationship, that I was in at the time, because it just wasn't working. We were butting heads too much, and I felt stifled. So the best thing for me to do at that time was to leave therapy. But the best thing for you to do at this time might be to seek out therapy. If you don't have the capacity to engage in therapy, then to seek out some peer support spaces. There are some peer support spaces online that are run by people that occupy marginalised identities, that are of very low cost and also operate on a sliding pay what you can scale. So finding community and finding peer support in that way, it won't take the place of therapy, but it still will connect you with people that are like-minded. Community is one of those really beautiful things that when you find people that share the same values, it feels like they can hold space for you and you can hold space for them. Community, I've found it, to be honest, online. I've found other fat people from around the world that I have connected with, that I have shared experience with, and to be in community with these people, and they are some of the most incredible human beings on this planet. I feel very privileged, and I also feel very supported. So finding community on social media, joining groups on Facebook is another great way of finding like-minded people as well. And look, at really doing what you need to do for yourself in terms of self-care. So for some people that might be, your bubble baths and your painting your nails sort of thing. For others, it might be kind of getting their shit together. It might be, making sure all the bills are paid, that the fridge is stocked with groceries, that, there's plenty of cat food, that I'm not going to run out of toilet paper. Those things, I know they might seem kind of seemingly innocuous, but those things are really important, and it tends to be those things that I tend to stress about the most. Look, that's not to say that having a shower, doing your skincare, putting a hair mask in, doing a face mask, those sorts of things are really lovely and really nurturing. Also finding things that work for you. So it might be that you read for half an hour before you go to bed. It might be that you wake up in the morning to watch the sunrise once every fortnight. It's finding things that make you feel good and make you feel, I'm not gonna say strong within yourself, but make you feel like you're holding space for yourself, if that makes sense. Self-care is one of these things that I think, we tend to throw the term around so willy-nilly, and it's actually, self-care can be really complicated. So it's finding what works for you, finding the things that make you feel good about yourself, make you feel good about, the space that you're taking up. It's doing what you need to do to get through, essentially. Self-care is one of these huge topics, and I don't think you can do it justice, but essentially doing what you need to do in order to get through. I really hope that all of that has been helpful for you and helpful as a starting point. I will leave the details in the description box below of the things that I've referred to in this video, so you can find it all in one space. As always, my work over on Instagram tends to be a lot more prolific than what I will be releasing in terms of video content, yet I hope to be able to expand on the content that I produce on Instagram in the videos that I then produce for you on YouTube. So I hope that this can be a really lovely platform that is an extension of my work that delves deeper into the topics that I post about over on Instagram. So I really hope that all of that has been helpful for you. If you've got any questions, or if anything in this video has kind of sparked questions for you, please feel free to either comment them below or DM me on Instagram, email me. I'm more than happy to try and address any of your questions within reason, of course. So yeah, please feel free to reach out. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting my work, and I hope you've enjoyed this launch video. Thanks so much. I'll see you soon.